Hi everyone, Crooks here from Ace Trading. Today I'm here to share with you one of our new bots, the Ninza VWAP Velocity Bot. Okay, so you saw in the introduction it takes, some minimal trades. We're not looking to take too many trades in the day for this first setting. So this bot is broken up into two settings. I'm going to talk through the first setting using the VWAP Standard Deviation Bands, and then I'll talk a bit about the VWAP Bounce and Push. Okay, so what the bot aims to do, what I might actually do first is I will pull up the settings for the bot so we can discuss what it actually looks like. So on the right here, you can see there are options for you to choose as a user. We can either show previous trades or we can untick that and then not show the previous trades, but I'm going to show you the different settings in which the bot can be activated. So I'm just going to disable the bot for now. There are a number of different aspects for this bot. The first one, I'm going to turn off the VWAP Bounce and Push. I'm just going to start with the VWAP Standard Deviation Regression lines. Okay, so my go-to for trading these is looking at the second or the third standard deviation zones, and I'll discuss what that trade looks like in a moment. I like to run the bot from about 2 a.m. to 3 p.m., so catching that second half of the trading session. Confirmation candles, looking for about 3 to 4 confirmation candles before we're getting into a trade and our trailing stop. We're also going to be using the VWAP. So we're going to be using RSI as a confluence indicator. So we want to make sure that we tick RSI. You don't have to use it, but I like to use it for my trades. And then I like to reset the RSI to neutral after the trade has finished, so that we have to wait for a full break of the VWAP Standard Deviation Bands before taking a new trade. These here are just your standard RSI settings, which you're more than happy to change. I look for 70, above 70 being overbought and below 70 being oversold. And then you'll do a typical contract at your position setting. So I'm looking for 2 contracts for my first TP, 1 for my second. Looking for roughly around 40 ticks for my first TP and 60 for my stop loss. And I'll talk a bit about why they're there. Actually, I'll talk a bit about it now. Look, so I'm using a NinzaRenko candle of 40 and 4. And what that means is that it's going to take these bars here go for 40 ticks, and it's going to take 80 ticks for something to turn around. So you want to make sure that your stop loss is always past the full bar length. So if I'm looking for 40, I want to make sure that my stop loss is about 60. That means that I'm going to miss some of these little spikes, and it pretty much has to do a full turnaround in order for me to get out of the trade. So that's really important. You kind of have a combination, depending on what your NinzaRenko candle sizes are, to what your stop loss is. Otherwise, you're just going to get stopped out halfway through bars. Okay, I'm just going to set a random P&L target. Often I try to look for, with this particular bot, if I'm running micros, maybe $100 to $200 a day. If I'm looking for minis, I'm probably going to only run one minis, depending on your size of the accounts, but you'll see the trades that it will take. Everything else is pretty much standard. So I'm only going to look at the second standard deviation one for now, and I'll turn that on and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. So we'll enable. So what you'll see is that VWAP is then put onto the chart, and you can see that as we start to run the bot, you're going to see that the bands will start to separate as the session continues. It's really important that you take note of where the bands are, and that's going to help you decide which kind of bands are you going to trade off. So I'm trading off the second band, and if we were to look back over the previous days, you can see the bands start quite tight at the start of the day, and then they start to expand out. And what we're looking for is trades at a position to go, or price to go above the second VWAP band, and we're also looking for that RSI value to break above 70 while we're above. Okay, and then we'll take that trade back down, and vice versa. If we break below here, we're only taking longs when the RSI value is oversold. Okay, and you can kind of see if we go back. You can see here, if we're above the standard deviation bands, we're going to take pullbacks. We're also looking for a change in the candle color. Okay, so if price is over I guess, overbought or oversold, you're going to find that it's going to change the candle color from pink up the top and then blue down the bottom. Okay, so we'll just look for some other trades. So you can see here, price started to change, and over here, okay, we're overbought, so we're now looking to sell back down into VWAP, I guess that area. So it's called a VWAP regression. Regression meaning we're pulling back to the VWAP midpoint, which is that white line you can see. You can see there is another one. Comes up, pulls back. Okay, a nice tight one there. It's mostly been up the top here. See if we can catch any long. So you can kind of see there was a long that performed here, so it was very much oversold. However, it never really stayed above below that VWAP Standard Deviation Band. So let's have a look at running a bit of live, and we'll just show you what it looks like. So we'll start this, and we want to make sure our bot is turned on. Then you'll start to see price in a way expand, and then as you see price expand, you'll start to see the VWAP bands expand. Okay, so you can see here there was a part where we were overbought, okay, but we're not past the 2 a.m. starting point. So we're looking to see at 2 a.m. So we're kind of near 2 a.m. 2 a.m. is about to happen, and then we'll start to see now we are. So we've jumped out of the VWAP band. Now we've also seen a oversold. So now what we're actually looking for is let's pause it there. We're actually looking for price to come below the VWAP band, and we're looking to see it's oversold. That's that confluence and that confirmation that, okay, VWAP is probably going to then, so the price is probably going to then pull back into those bands, okay? And we see that there, and you can see it pulled out. Depending on where you set your TP and your stop loss, obviously also depending on your NinzaRenko candles, we could take a nice scalp, or we're looking for something bigger. I'm actually looking for larger trades because I'm actually waiting for that larger push, because you're not going to take too many trades in the day. Okay, and you can see here, as soon as price, as soon as we get our first TP, we have the break even turned on, and we have our trailing on. So now we have broke even, and then we are going to continue up. Often you'll find that price will hit VWAP and then it will bounce. Okay, it'll either push through or it'll bounce. Okay, so what you find most of the time is you want to make sure that you can even set your second TP around that, but you can see that it kind of came up to VWAP and pushed out, which is okay. We still picked up our money. We still picked up $515 off that one trade. Okay, so this bot is not going to take many trades throughout the day, depending on your settings, whether you're trading the first standard deviation, second, third, or fourth. Obviously, second and third are my go-tos, but feel free to play around with it. We're just about to release our new candles, our NinzaRenko candles, and you'll be able to backtest these bots using those in the future. Okay, you can kind of see here price. I'll pause it. Price went up, and we were overbought, so we're looking for a sell, so that's why it's turned pink. And then as it comes back in, we used our confirmation candles, our 4 confirmation candles, and got into the trade. I'm able to move this up to here if I wanted to. I could then say, okay, maybe I know it's going to kind of bounce on VWAP, so then we'll look down and see what happens. And it kind of got close, but it didn't. It pulled back because of our trail, and then went through. But you can kind of see how that works. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about the second component or the second aspect of this bot. So, so far I've shown you how to trade the standard deviation regression bands. So that's the pullbacks from the bands. What I want to show you now is I would like to show you the VWAP push or bounce. And what this is going to do, we're looking for price to come back into where the VWAP line is, and either bounce off that line and take a trade, or we're either looking to push through that VWAP line and take a trade. Okay, in order for this to work, we need to have an add-on value for our VWAP band. I'm just going to give you a random numbers here to show you what it looks like and how it works. Okay, so I like to trade them differently, okay, use different TPEs, and I'll show you how I do that in a second, but I'm just going to talk to you a bit about this first one, and then I'll show you how I can combine them, okay? So if I'm looking for, say, for example, an add-on value of 20, I'm still going to use the same timing. I might even look for less of a confirmation. Maybe I'm looking for a 2-candle confirmation, and maybe even 4, and maybe even go for a bit more of a scalp. Okay, because you find with these bounces, it can go and you can catch some big trades, but I often look for a bit of a scalp. Okay, so if I'm looking for 20, maybe I'm looking for 12 tick TP, and maybe I'm looking for a 25 stop loss, just an example, and I'll show you why I'm choosing these values in a second. And maybe I'm looking for 100 tick second one, okay, maybe 1-1. just a clear examples. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's enable this bot and apply it. What we're actually doing here is the 20 value is the distance. Okay, we're looking at that we've added on to our VWAP. So what we're actually doing here is we're waiting for price to come up to this VWAP band. I'm calling it a band, and then as it moves away, we're taking that quick scalp. Okay, and that's what we're looking for, right? Because I had a stop loss of 25, a NinzaRenko candle of 40 and 4 is not going to suffice for us for that, because the stop loss is too big. Maybe we would like to look at something around more a 20 and 5, for example. Okay, and what that means is that my stop loss is going to not get hit so often because inside that same candle. Okay, so it still does the same movement, price is still doing the same action, but just the way you enter is going to be different. Okay, so let's have a look here. So this, you can see here, price bounced in a number of times. We're not starting to 2 a.m., but if we started earlier, you would see price would come in and out. So waits for 2 candle confirmations, and then I'll take my little quick scalp. Okay, went in, take my scalp. Went in, take my scalp. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes the price pushes through. And in this case, it pushed through and took my thing. I probably would have made hit my TB because I'm only looking for 12 ticks, and these differences are 5. So if I entered on this second candle, I would have got 5, 10, 15. I would have made my quick scalp before price turned around. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Let's make sure my bot is turned on. And I'll just give you an indication of what the bot does, and then I'll show you how to combine it with the VWAP Standard Deviation Bands, okay? Because I've got the bands turned off, so you cannot see the bands at all. So now I'm literally trading just this VWAP bounce or the VWAP push. So we're looking for price after 2 a.m. to come in, okay? And then either pull out this way or pull out this way. If there is a lot of chop, you can sometimes see, there we go, perfect trade. So as price came out of this VWAP band, it waited for those 2 candle confirmations and then took it. So I was able to make a decent amount there on that. Okay, so we got my $60 on that. Right, so now we're not really worried about RSIs and things like that, because that's not going to impact our VWAP band or push. We're looking for price to come in, and now price is in this area. It's waiting for a 2 candle confirmation, and it didn't quite get in there. It got it on that one. Okay, so you can see there, 2 candle confirmation didn't work, 2 candle confirmation got it, opened on the third, but this time we had a bit of a pullback, which is always common. So it's really important that you do back test, you do find values that work for you, and you can see there I had that nice push out, and I was able to get my money back up. Okay, so that is the VWAP band. It's called the VWAP push and bounce because I'm looking for the bounce, and you can see price does that, or price will push through and you can take it either side. Okay, so now I have shown you the different ways you can use this VWAP tool. Okay, it's VWAP Velocity Bot. What I like to do is I like to trade the 2 different scenarios, the bounce push and the regression bands. I'd like to trade them separately. So what I do is I like to add the bot once to my chart, set up my settings for that VWAP bounce push, okay, and go and set up all my things like that, which is like I've just shown you. And then I'd like to add the VWAP band, so the VWAP Velocity Bot again, so that I can then now not trade that VWAP band push. I can actually trade just maybe even looking for the 3rd regression and set different times. I could set earlier or later. Maybe I'm looking at 3:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Okay, I'm in Central Standard Time. Maybe I'm looking for 5 confirmation candles and just different values. I'm looking for that RSI, pullbacks and so forth, different TPs, different stop losses, and run it differently. The only downside to running this is that I want to make sure that my positions don't overlap. So maybe I would like to choose different accounts, okay, so that I'm not going to be in a trade and then open up another trade. Okay, if I'm going to use the same account and I've only got the 1 account, well then by all means just run it on the same account. Okay, so which you're more than welcome to do. Okay, so if I was going to run it on the same account, I'll just tick the VWAP band push and then maybe that one, and so forth, set up my trades, and it won't overlap the trades. It'll only take one trade at a time. If you're in a trade and a position sets up, well, you can see it won't impact that at all. So we're in a trade here, it came down, waited for that to finish before it'll enter my pullbacks and so forth. Okay, so this is a fantastic bot. We've had a lot of success with it, looking for those larger pushes out of the bands, okay, and then also scalping the VWAP band in the middle. We will discuss a number of different settings in our Discord channel, so please do reach out, do become a member via our WAP link, which you'll find in our description, and I look forward to having a chat about this VWAP Velocity Bot in Discord. Take it easy.